Previously on You Can Beat Video Games. In part 1 of this guide, we rode an invisible Yoshi, found an item that clears any level, and then we worked our way through the first 4 worlds. But Bowser is still at large, and the princess is still kidnapped, so today on You Can Beat Video Games, we'll take on the remaining 4 worlds, collect an absurd amount of extra lives, and discover even more amazing tricks and glitches, including the Silver Yoshi. If you're new to the channel, we're doing deep dives on retro video games and giving you the professional strategies that can be used by the casual gamer. Please make sure to subscribe and check out youcanbeatvideogames.com for episode lists, news, and official You Can Beat Video Games merchandise. And please join our Patreon for access to an exclusive Discord community and a chance to vote on future episodes. Let's get started. All right, Super Mario World Part 2. Before we jump back into our saved game, what if I told you it was possible to beat this game without finishing a single level? Well, that's what we're about to do. This is the credits warp. To do this trick, you need a second controller, and you need somebody to be holding down, right, L, select, X, and B at the end of this trick, although it's fine if those buttons are held down the entire time, so you can use rubber bands. Enter Yoshi's Island 2, grab the red shell, and we're going to do the block duplication trick on the right side of this question mark block. It is important that Yoshi appears on the right and not directly above the block. Move Mario into this exact position, and then you're going to hold L to scroll the screen as far as it'll go, then hold down, left, and Y, and press and hold B until the 1-up completely spawns. That is very important. Now we're going to head to the right, and we just want to get rid of the berries that are on the ground level, and we want to get rid of the red shell and the other enemies, but make sure not to stomp the green shell. That part's a little bit less precise. Once you've cleared everything out, head back to the left. It's okay if you get hit, just get back onto Yoshi, and we're going to pick up the red shell, go back to the beginning, and then move to this exact position, and that's where you want to spit the fireballs. Now we're going to head back to the left to reset the Koopas that are walking up on that ledge. We're going to grab the rightmost one, and we're going to take it over here, where we'll get into another exact position and spit the fireballs again. Now if any of these are off by even a single pixel, the trick won't work, so you need to be very precise. Head back to the beginning, and then go grab another Koopa from the right side, and this one we're going to position right over here. Now the only positioning that matters is the horizontal one, so you could spit this out on the lower ledge, but it's a little bit easier to do on the top ledge. After going back to the beginning, we're going to head over here, grab another red Koopa from the right, and we're going to spit this one in this exact spot. And we're going to head back to the beginning to do it again. This one is another one we're going to do up on the top, right in this position. And then we need to go back because we need to spit one more fireball in a very precise position. This one's farther over on the right, so right here. Once you spit this fireball, you're going to head back and you're going to stomp 2 of the Koopas, then dismount from Yoshi. Stomp that enemy, grab the red shell, go all the way back to the beginning, then slowly walk to the right until you get to this spot, and you need to tap left in that exact position. That is extremely important. Then you need to head back to the left without going to the right, get to that exact spot and punt the shell up into the air, then return to Yoshi. I'd say that's the most difficult part of the positioning, but now we have to do almost the exact same trick that we did to get the cloud back in part 1. So we spit a shell from that top ledge, we're going to grab this green shell, spit it out up here, press X and A at the same time, and right after Mario grabs the coin, you need to be holding L, R, and X on controller 1, And don't forget about the buttons on controller too. And if you did everything extra perfect, you will be brought to this ending screen. They call this the credits warp, but you actually skip past the credits, and then this part of the ending is silent, as if the enemies know you cheated and are just going through the motions. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'd say the difficulty of this trick is about a 25, and I don't even want to talk about how long it took me to get this, but I did want to show it because it is a very impressive thing to see. Alright, let's get back to our quest to find all 96 exits. And after finishing World 4, we've arrived at the Forest of Illusion, and in the Forest of Illusion, you can't rely on just finding the normal goals. We're going to need to find some of the secret exits to get through this one. Forest of Illusion 1 is the natural habitat of a very dangerous breed of centipede-type enemy called Wigglers. You're going to want to have Yoshi in here, and you can find one in this question mark block if you didn't bring one from outside. And you'll want Yoshi here because when you stomp on the Wigglers, they get angry, but Yoshi can eat them in a single gulp. So whenever you see Wigglers, have Yoshi eat them head first, and we've now eaten enough of those pink berries to hatch a happy little cloud, and he's dropping smiley faces on us, which count as coins. You can hit that 1-up from below to bring it down to this level, and in this area, it's possible to get a ton of points by bouncing on these Wigglers. Now you can only get points whenever you bounce on a yellow Wiggler, but you can keep bouncing on the red ones so that you can stay up in the air. Try to move around from left to right so that more yellow Wigglers will spawn, and as long as you don't touch the ground, you'll get more and more points each time, and eventually you're going to get 1-ups. But it doesn't stop there. You'll get a 2-up, and then you'll get a 3-up, and a 5-up, and then things will start getting interesting. While most enemies in the game are programmed to stop giving you points whenever they start giving you 1-ups, it seems that Wigglers don't have the same limitation, and after they give you 5 extra lives, they'll just start giving you increasingly more and more points. If you're interested in maxing out your score, this is the easiest place to do it, and the most points you can possibly have is 9,999,990. Whenever you're done trying to get points from the Wigglers, head through the mid-level checkpoint, and then if you hit the roulette block while it's showing a feather, you should be able to grab a star as soon as it pops out, and that's going to make the rest of this level a whole lot easier. There are a ton of enemies between that roulette block and the goal line, so if you move fast and plow through enough of them with your invincibility, you'll also be able to pick up a few extra lives. Now that's one way to reach the normal goal, but there's another way you can reach it by accessing a secret bonus stage. You'll want to be Cape Mario and you need to be riding a Yoshi. Head over to this point in the level where you see the keyhole below you and eat a green shell so that you can bring it down here where you'll want to spit it out while holding down. Dismount from Yoshi and pick up the shell. We're going to do the block duplication trick on the left side of that question mark block, and the easiest way to do it is to jump up and drift into the right side of it. Here's what it looks like in slow motion. That's the spot where you want to shoot the shell upwards, and you want to make sure that you're carrying it afterwards so that you can hit it again. You may need to hit it several times to get the magic wings. So we'll try it again. We got another balloon, and there it is. There's the wings. Quickly get onto Yoshi, and this will take you up to a bonus stage that should not be in this level. As soon as you drop off the bottom of the bonus stage, it's going to clear the level, so if you're in a big hurry, you could theoretically just walk off the edge of the bridge and be done with this. But for now, we're going to fly around and collect as many coins as we can before moving on. The normal exit opens up Forest of Illusion 2, but there is a secret exit that we'll be able to find using a key, So we should do that before moving on. Starting here at the mid-level checkpoint, we're going to head to the right, and you remember where the keyhole was? It's underneath some wooden platforms. So you want to head over here, and we're going to go down where we did the magic wing trick, but this time we're simply going to dismount from Yoshi and actually collect the balloon. So hit the side of the block and collect the balloon as soon as it pops out, and you just want to float over here to the left. Where is the key, you may ask? Yep, it's right here in the question mark block, right next to the keyhole. So you just want to grab that key as soon as your balloon wears off, and you'll be able to put it onto the keyhole, and the secret exit here from Forest of Illusion 1 will open up the Forest Ghost House. Before we go to the Forest Ghost House, Forest of Illusion 2 will lead us to the game's fourth and final Switch Palace, so let's do that one first. This is an aquatic level, so if you have access to the Fire Flower, you may want to switch to it now. Neither the Fire Flower nor the Cape can kill those large prickly urchin enemies, but you can defeat them by using the purple blocks that you'll find occasionally in this stage. Burn as many of those fish as you can and then swim up whenever the urchin's on the right side. If you want to collect that dinosaur coin, you may want to pick up this block and kill the urchin with it. Make sure to launch it in the direction of the urchin. Don't just try to run into it, or you may get hit by accident. If you use your R button here to scroll the screen to the right, you'll be able to despawn one of the enemies below here, which will make dropping down through this area easier. There should be an urchin over there to the left, but you can see that it did not spawn because we scrolled the screen to the right. Watch out for the Cheep Cheeps and the Blurps in this area, and there is a power-up for you here if you need it. It's a Fire Flower. Head straight across the top if you just want to move on, but if you'd like to get a 1-up and the second dragon coin, you should come down here to the bottom, where we can avoid that urchin and we'll find the 1-up in a hidden box. You want to make sure that you hit the 1-up and let it drop down before collecting all of the coins that appear in hidden boxes there. Otherwise, you'll trap the 1-up in the top. So we'll let it drop down here. We'll burn out some of these fish, and we'll collect it and the second dragon coin, and then we'll make our way back to the left. So you can see what I mean. If you hit all those coins, you'll just block off the way for the 1-up to drop down and you won't be able to collect it. We're going to head across to the right. We're going to find the third dragon coin over here, and we'll also roast a Rip Van Fish and then sneak under this urchin so that we can continue on to the right. As we swim over here to the right, we'll find another one of those purple blocks, and we can use it to take out one of the urchins in this area, and if you do a good enough shot, you may be able to get 2 of them. Just missed that time. Make your way over here to the right, wait for that urchin to swim over into the right pocket and then drop down, and make a mental note of where this area is. We're going to be coming back there later. The last dragon coin is up here at the top, guarded by a ton of Rip Van Fish enemies, and although it's probably not worth the risk, if you can bring enough of those enemies to the goal line, you can score a 1-up as you cross it. The normal exit here is going to take us to Forest of Illusion 3, but we wanted to find that blue Switch Palace, so we're going to go back into Forest of Illusion 2, and this time we're going to go to the secret exit. Now, you remember where that yellow exclamation block was near the end of the level? That's where we need to go. You can actually swim through the wall here, and on the other side you'll find the key in the keyhole. Now, you were supposed to go through that wall, but if you bring Yoshi to this level, you can actually go through some walls that the developers intended to be solid. So head over to this spot. We're going to go up into this corner, dismount from Yoshi, and you want to swim over to the left a bit so that you can remount him right at his head as he's going near the wall. If you do it correctly, you can get inside the wall, and in this level, there is water inside the wall, so you can just keep swimming while you're in here. This is a big difference to the Yoshi through the wall trick that we did earlier, where there was nothing but air inside the wall, and that makes things a lot more difficult. Doing almost the same trick here in the Forest of Illusion 2 will allow you to avoid almost all of the enemies, and then you can just extend the tongue, pick up the key, and touch Yoshi's head to the keyhole to be able to reach the Blue Switch Palace. Once you get into the Blue Switch Palace, make sure to collect a few of the coins at the beginning, then hit both switches, which will turn all of the enemies into silver coins, which you can collect for extra points and 1-ups, and there will also be a bunch of coins at the top that you can collect, as well as a row of coins that will reappear at the bottom whenever the switches wear off. So just grab as much loot as you want and then make your way through the pipe on the right side, and that will lead you to the large blue exclamation point, and when you hit that switch, that's going to turn all of the blue dotted lines into blue exclamation point blocks. Just like the red switch, the blue exclamation blocks are only used as platforms and do not contain power-ups. We'll also get the opportunity to save the game here. Forest of Illusion 3 will take us out of the forest, so let's head over to the Choco-Ghost House, which will take us deeper into its secret areas. We'll say goodbye to Yoshi, and if you come into this ghost house with a cape, well, we can make this a very short trip. Head over to the right, trying to avoid the large boo as well as some of the smaller ones, and when you see this big boo, you want to lead him down into the lower corner, and then you can use a spin jump to get over him. Keep making your way to the right, turn your back on the ghosts to make them head towards your location, and then jump over them once they get close enough. And here's where we want to use the cape. You want to get a running start while you're on this platform, and if you do that, it's actually very easy to get up and over this wall, which will lead you directly to the goal. That little trick will allow you to skip most of this ghost house, and there's a second exit to this one, so we're going to take the long way the second time, but you could definitely use the same trick again to reach the second exit if you're not interested in playing through the rest of this level. The second exit here in the Choco-Ghost House is also one of the easiest ones in the game to miss, so if you have 95 exits and you just can't figure out where the last one is, try getting both exits from this ghost house and see if that helps. So make your way to the right. Remember that the ghosts in this game will only move towards you if you are not facing towards them, so use that to your advantage to manipulate them until they move out of your way. Watch out for these Eries, you can usually duck underneath them, and as we head to the right, we'll find our first dragon coin, and we'll also find a question mark block that contains a power-up. This one has a feather. There are swarms of ghosts in this area, so be careful when you're jumping, and this box that's flying through the air with wings contains a fire flower if you need it, but the cape is probably a little bit better, so if you need one of those, you'll find it in this question mark block. As you make your way to the right, you're going to see a P switch, but underneath it there's a block that you can hit to get a 1-up, but you'll need to get a bit of momentum and slide under it if you're not small. Once you've collected the 1-up, you can make your way up and over to the right, avoiding the swarms of ghosts. Just give them a moment to get out of the way, and you want to carry the P switch to the right, and make sure to take out some of those coins so that you can hit the secret door in the lower right corner. And that will bring you back up here on the other side of the wall near the beginning, and that's the door that we took to the first goal. Just keep making your way to the left to find the last dragon coin, and a second door that leads outside to an area that has a 3-up moon, and the second goalpost. Now this second goal just takes us back the same way that we came, so it doesn't really go anywhere, but it does count towards the 96 goals, so you don't want to miss that one. Forest of Illusion 4 is the one with Fishing Lakitu. Fishing Lakitu has a 1-up for you, but you don't want to take the bait, because as soon as you grab it, he's going to start dumping spinies on you. If you bring a shell over to this spot, we can do a good 1-up trick. Scroll the screen to the right, and that Lakitu in the pipe will keep tossing spiny eggs right down into the area where the green shell is. If you'd like to accelerate the process, you can collect the 1-up from Fishin' Lakitu, and then he'll start dropping spinies as well. You'll need to be a little bit more careful once Lakitu is throwing his spinies, so if you're being a bit more conservative, you can just not collect the 1-up that he's holding and only use the Lakitu in the pipe, but you can see with both of them going, you can get a lot of 1-ups very quickly using that trick. Over here we see another roulette block, and just like we usually do with these roulette blocks, you want to hit it when you see a feather, and then you'll be able to collect a star as soon as it pops out. The Starman will make it easy to kill Lakitu and hijack his cloud, but unlike the glitched cloud item that you can get in your item box, this one will wear out after a while, so watch for it to fade. That brings us to the mid-level checkpoint. Either do a big jump from the nearby pipes or just dismount from Yoshi to get up there, and then continue on to the right. Inside that purple pipe above, you'll be able to get to the secret exit, but for now, let's just head to the right and do the normal exit first. This middle green pipe leads us to an aquatic area, but there's nothing important to find in here. Just some fish and some coins, so if you'd like to skip over this one, feel free. We're just going to make our way to the left, grabbing as many coins as we can and trying to avoid the fish. And you can see nothing important down here, no dragon coins, no 1-ups. Just make your way to the left, and then you'll find yourself back here near the mid-level checkpoint. So it also takes you backwards a bit. I'm not sure what the point of that was, but past these green pipes, you'll find a fire flower, and then there's a blue shell, which if you eat it with Yoshi will allow you to fly, and you can just follow those coins up into the air, where you'll find the 4th dragon coin, and the 5th one is over here near the goal line. The standard exit here does not take us anywhere that we need to go. It's just going to lead back to Forest of Illusion 2, but it is one of the 96 exits, so it's important that we hit it. We don't need to go to Forest of Illusion 2, so we'll head back into Forest of Illusion 4, and starting here from the mid-level checkpoint, we're just going to go to the right and we're looking for the purple pipe that's up in the air. That will lead us to the secret exit, and it's very easy to find. Just go down into the pipe, the key and the keyhole are right there. The key exit from Forest of Illusion 4 leads to the Forest Secret area, and this is the first level that we've played in this world that only has one exit. This level is also very short, but the fast-moving background can be nauseating. If you're trying to get all 5 dragon coins in this level, that's going to be a little bit more difficult and you'll need to jump between the 2 platforms. If you just want to get to the end, just try to ride on one platform and just don't get hit by enemies. Jump over whatever ones get in your way, but just try to stay with one of the platforms and make your way to the end. Either way, this level looks a little bit scary because you're just floating on small platforms and there's a bunch of flying enemies that get in your way, but it's not actually that tough. If you've hit the blue switch, you'll be able to get a 1-up down here. It's going to be a little bit more difficult without the blue switch. You'll need to hit it from one of the platforms. Head over here to collect the 5th and final dragon coin, and when you get to the goal line, there's a bunch of 1-ups behind it, but you're not going to be able to collect those. However, if you get both platforms on the screen and you don't cross the goal line ticker tape, you'll be able to get a bunch of 1-ups by converting all the objects on the screen into points and extra lives. Completing the forest secret area takes us along this hidden path to the left, which leads to the forest fortress. This is the second of the game's 4 fortresses, and the first part is an auto-scrolling area with large pillars to crush you and buzzsaws that get in your way. You want to just stay to the left at the beginning and let the screen push you along. You don't have to do anything right here. Whenever you get down in that little divot, you will need to hop out of it, and you will need to run past this buzzsaw, but wait for this one that's on a T-shaped path and then cross under after the pillar drops down. When you see these blue and red exclamation blocks, you want to make your way to the right. That will allow you to easily avoid that pillar, and then just wait here for the next pillar to drop, and as soon as it goes down, then you can start making your way to the right. Duck down here and then quickly move to the right past those blue exclamation blocks, and you'll find the door that leads to the next part. Avoid the first buzzsaw and watch out for the 2 Pootaboos that jump out of the lava, and when you get to the top of these stairs, you want to hold down the L button, which will scroll the screen to the left and despawn one of the 2 buzzsaws below, making it much easier to move forward. As you head over here, you want to scroll the screen forward with R, which will make those Pootaboos leap out in front of you, and they'll be easier to avoid. These buzzsaws in this area will also jump out a little bit early, and they'll also be easy to avoid. Up here you can find a cape feather, so if you need it, grab it now, and if you're good at flying, you can skip this first door to the boss and get a running start to fly over the lava here. Just keep tapping to the left once you get your flight going, so left, left, and that will bring you to this area where you'll find 9 1-ups. So if you're good with the cape, you can come over here and grab 9 1-ups. If you're not as good, you should probably take the first door that leads to the boss. Both boss doors will take you to the same place. You need to hit all 4 of those Triceratops monsters from below to defeat Reznor, but once you hit the second one, the bridge below you will start to break, so you want to hit that second one when it's kind of high up in the air, so that you'll be able to quickly take out the other 2 before the bridge fades away. Otherwise you'll have to ride on those platforms, which is a lot harder. Completing the Forest Fortress will allow us to save the game, and it connects us back to Star Road. And we haven't been to Star World in a while, so let's finish up the last 2 levels now. At the beginning of Star World 4, you can find a baby red Yoshi, but we already had a Yoshi, so instead we got a 1-up. The green Yoshi may actually be better than the red Yoshi here, because we can eat a blue shell, and whenever Yoshi is about to swallow that shell, you can land and then hold down to spit it out. If you spit it out while holding down, you'll be able to pick the shell up again, and you can use the same blue Koopa shell to fly through the entire level. The red Yoshi would turn the blue shell into fireballs when you spit it out, so that's why the green, yellow, or blue Yoshi would probably be better for this level. You'll also need a shell to be able to get the secret exit, so you want to head down here, spit a shell out at that question mark block, which will reveal the key, and the keyhole is right nearby. That will allow you to advance farther in Star World, but don't forget, if you want to get all 96 exits, we still need to finish this one the regular way. Because they don't really take you anywhere, it's very easy to forget to do the normal goals in Star World, so if you're missing a few exits towards your 96, this is another good place to check. Star World 4 is probably the most challenging of the 5 Star World levels, but with a little help from Yoshi, it's not that tough. Of course, that path takes us backwards, and in case you forgot, this Star Road is the one that takes us to the final level. So if you'd like to skip ahead to Bowser's Castle, you can, but let's go back and finish Star World number 5. Star World 5 starts out with a bunch of platforms that drop out from under you whenever you step on them, but they move kind of slowly, so as long as you're moving fast, you shouldn't have too many problems getting across. Beyond the platforms that drop out from under you, you'll find this large chasm and this control coin block, which ideally you'd like to direct to move across the bottom to the right. So just let it travel to the right as far as it can, and then we're going to hit that P switch over on the left, and that's going to create a bridge of bricks. You'll also be able to find a hidden one-up here if you created the bridge low enough, and there it is right there. We abandoned our Yoshi because we're going to be able to get a better yellow Yoshi over here, but if you had a Yoshi already, you would get a one-up instead. We need to feed this Yoshi to make it grow, but there's plenty of food down here, so feed it some spinies and piranha plants, and you'll have an adult yellow Yoshi in no time. When yellow Yoshi has a Koopa shell in his mouth of any color, whenever you jump, he'll do a stomping attack, which releases some dust clouds out to the right and left, and those can kill enemies. And that brings us to the normal exit for Star World 5, which will actually take us somewhere, back around to Star World 1. So unlike the other normal exits in this world which just take you backwards, Star World 5s will complete the star. What about the secret exit, you say? Well, we're just going to do the same thing that we did last time, except this time we want to make our control coin bridge a bit higher up. We're going to use it as a runway whenever we hit the P switch, and as long as you have a cape, it should be pretty easy to get up to the area where the key is. There's also a way to do this by hitting a vine in one of the blocks in this area, but I think creating a runway and just jumping up here and then dismounting from Yoshi to get into the area with the exclamation blocks is your best bet. Don't feel bad about abandoning your Yoshi here. You won't be able to bring him through the tunnel anyways, and at the end you'll find the key in the keyhole, which leads to the special world. Before we leave Star World 5, if you bring the green orb item that we got in part 1 of this guide to this level, you can do a pretty interesting trick. You want to hit the control coin block and create the bridge just like we did the previous 2 times. But this time we're going to hit the P switch and then we're going to collect the green orb. It's a little bit easier if you have a blue Yoshi. And we'll collect the green orb up here above the bridge that we created. If you time this correctly, you'll start walking on air, but then suddenly drop out right as the screen fades away. And then you'll see that Star World has turned to this weird orange color, but it will go away if you go into a level or you take any of the paths out of Star Road. If you're having trouble doing that trick, you may just want to wait until later in the guide where I'll show you how to do a much easier map glitch. We are going to do the special world later, but for now, let's head back to the Forest of Illusion and finish that one up. We're going to head down here to the Forest of Illusion 3, and once again this level has a red dot, so there are 2 exits here. Forest of Illusion 3 contains a lot of enemies that are trapped inside of bubbles, and if you touch the bubbles they'll pop, but they'll also pop on their own, so be careful as you make your way to the right. This question mark block contains a Yoshi which will be very useful in this level, although he's not quite as useful in this bonus area, which if you don't have a Yoshi and you hit the left side of those blocks with your cape, you'll always get a circle. Of course, we have plenty of lives at this point, so we're just going to collect as many 1-ups as we get and make our way out of the top pipe. In addition to enemies, some of the bubbles contain mushrooms, and while the mushrooms won't hurt you, if you have a good item in your reserve item box, the mushroom would replace it, so you'll probably want to avoid those. Hitting that red shell from below will cause a chain reaction that will drop the spring, and that will make it easy to get over that big yellow pipe. Keep making your way to the right, avoiding the bubbles in this area, and that will bring you to the mid-level checkpoint. So just keep making your way to the right, avoiding the enemies trapped inside the bubbles. And whenever we eat this pink fruit, we've eaten enough of them now to release another coin cloud, and it will drop some smiley faces on us, which count as coins. I wonder why the programmers had this cloud drop smiley faces on us instead of just regular coins. It seems like that would have been easier to program. But this is what we have, so just keep continuing to the right, and all of the question mark blocks in this area contain single coins, so if you want to skip those over, feel free, but if you insist on collecting them, you may want to use a dismount from Yoshi boost to get up to the higher coins. Over here you'll find the 5th dragon coin, and then you'll find the goal line. But remember, we need to find 2 exits here in the Forest of Illusion, and the regular exit does not take us anywhere that we want to go. It's going to loop us back around up to the ghost house, because yeah, that's what we needed, yet another path that leads up there. Of course, we are trying to get all 96 exits, so even the ones that take you backwards are important. If you want to get to the castle, you want to go to this green pipe near the goal line, this one right here, and press down. That will take you into this room, and if you're on Yoshi and you do a spin jump that lands you onto Yoshi's back, you'll be able to break through the blocks, and if you're not riding Yoshi, well, you can just spin jump down in there, and that will open up the path that leads to Roy's castle. This will be the final challenge in the Forest of Illusion, and inside we're going to ride on the snake block platforms, and they'll take us across the lava. It's possible to use your cape to fly over the lava, but it's very difficult to do it without getting hit by an enemy, so you probably should just jump down here and use the snake block platforms. When you get to this spot, you may want to press the R button to advance the screen to the right. That will cause those Peekaboo enemies to pop up a bit early, and they won't be in a good spot to hit you while you're riding your platform. Once you get down here to the bottom, follow the snake blocks along to the right, where they'll start stair-stepping back up to the top. Be careful that you don't get hit by a Peekaboo that pops out of the lava, and continue along to the right. Over here, make sure to press the R button to advance the screen ahead, so that the spikes will fall early and you won't have to deal with them. So you just need to ride the platform along, and try to pick up the dragon coins if you want. When you get over here, you can abandon the snake block, and just jump across. Don't hit this P switch right away. Instead, bring it over to the right past this statue that spits fire at you, drop it here, hold left to move the screen back, and then hit the switch. Wait right there, and the 1-up will come right to you. If you hit the switch early, you'll have to deal with an extra statue. Whenever you're jumping across these accordion blocks, try to jump to the middle of each formation. That block never actually moves. Of course, we've been dealing with those accordion blocks since World 1, so that will bring us over here to the red boss door, and Roy Koopa is very similar to Morton, who was the boss of World 2, in that he's going to run to the left and try to climb up on the wall. If you're fast enough, you can hit him 3 times before he even gets to the wall, and if you do that, you won't even notice that he causes the walls to move in on you, so if you let this fight go too long, it will get more difficult. If you have a fire flower, you can shoot him with 2 fireballs and then hit him once on the head to easily defeat Roy. So if you happen to have fireballs available, that will make this boss even easier. If Roy does get up on the wall, make sure to jump before he lands on the ground, or he will stun you. And it seems that our bomb didn't work this time, and yeah, it did. And well, Mario has found his way through the Forest of Illusion and has put an end to Roy Koopa of Castle number 5. Onward to the dangerous, but tasty, Chocolate Island. As Roy's castle crumbles, a bridge pops up that takes us into Chocolate Island. The first level is a yellow dot, so there's only going to be 1 exit here. Yoshi is unable to eat the large dino rhinos on this level, but he can stomp on them, and he can eat the smaller and arguably more dangerous dino torches. If you stomp on a dino rhino while you're not riding Yoshi, it'll shrink down into a dino torch, so if you don't have Yoshi, you may want to use a spin jump against those guys. This flying box contains a fire flower, but you'd probably rather have a feather if you have one available. Keep making your way to the right, and whenever you get past this piranha plant, you want to go down in this yellow pipe so that you get launched out of the green one. If you don't get launched out of it, for some reason, the mid-level checkpoint won't be there. Pretty strange. Use the P-switch to create a bridge of coins over those munchers, and if you carry a spring over to this area and launch yourself up into the air, you can dismount from your Yoshi to reach a 3-up moon. You'll find another flying question mark block with a fire flower in it, and then you just want to make your way over here to the right, where you'll find a Yoshi, or if you already have a Yoshi, you'll find a 1-up. If you'd like to find an extra life, you can go into this purple pipe in the middle, and that will take you to a hidden area filled with dolphins, and there's the 1-up right there. Make your way across the water. Remember that Yoshi can eat those pufferfish, or you can just use the dolphins as platforms. Once you get to the other side, you'll be launched out of a pipe, where you'll come to the goal line, and you can use the spring nearby to try to hit it at its highest position. And we got the 50! Pretty good! If you recall from part 1, 50 is the most stars that you can get from the goal line. If you're getting 40 or 30, you are very close to getting the 50. It may be a bit surprising this deep in the game, but the Choco-Ghost House may be the most straightforward ghost house in the entire game. There's only one exit, and it's honestly not that difficult to find. Watch out for the holes that open up in the floor at the beginning, and make your way to the right. You can duck here to avoid this squadron of Eries, and the hole in the floor shouldn't get that far to the left. Continue on to the right, where you'll see a new enemy, a fishing boo. This guy has a spectral flame that he dangles near you, and that can damage you, so definitely don't try to collect it. At the bottom you'll find a feather if you need it, and just keep working your way to the right, avoiding the holes in the floor and the eerie enemies that fly through. If you stay low on the screen, you won't get hit by the flame from the fish and boo, and when you get to the door, make sure that there's solid ground underneath it before you try to go inside. In this room, you'll encounter some ghosts that will turn into blocks that you can actually stand on whenever you're facing them, and they'll remain as ghosts whenever your back is to them, so just let them follow along behind you until you get to this area, then turn and face them to freeze them in place. You can kind of walk under them and quickly freeze them back, and up here is the door that you're looking for, but if you must get another 1-up, you could venture over here to the right, where you'll find one hidden in the yellow block all the way in this corner. Once you collected your 1-up, you can head back to the left, and remember, you can use those ghosts to get up to the top, or if you have a cape, you can just get a running start and do a big jump, and that will also get you up there. And that brings us to the goal, the only goal in this ghost house. To be completely honest, having a ghost house with only one exit this deep in the game is actually kind of mean, because I'll bet a lot of players searched every inch of that ghost house for a second exit that just wasn't there. Chocolate Island 2, on the other hand, has a lot of exits, and this is one of the most unique levels in the entire game. In this first area, the number of coins that you collect before you go into the first green pipe determines where that pipe will take you. There are 3 different places that you can end up when you go through here, and because we collected fewer than 9 coins, we emerge in this area with a bunch of red Koopa Paratroopas, and I would say this is one of the least desirable areas to go through, So ideally you should be collecting more coins in that first part. When you go through your second green pipe in this level, where you come out at is determined by how much time was left on the timer, and it does not matter where you came out the first time. So because our timer had between 235 and 249 seconds left, we came out in this area with the Dino Rhinos, and the third green pipe will take you to the goal, and this one's determined by how many dragon coins you found. If you found 3 or fewer, you'll get this area where there's a bunch of Rexes. If you found 4 or more, you'll come out in a different area where you'll be able to get the 5th dragon coin. That exit takes us on to Chocolate Island 3, but let's go back into Chocolate Island 2 and try to do it a different way. If we collect more than 8 coins but fewer than 21 coins in this area, we'll be able to go to Area 2B. There's a lot of coins in that question mark block on the left side, and don't forget that Yoshi coins count. So we got the medium number of coins, and we're in Area 2B, and this area contains a bunch of Rex enemies. It also contains a fire flower and 1 dragon coin for us, so this is definitely better than Area 2A. When we get to the end of this section, the last time we went through the pipe with the medium amount of time left on the timer, so this time we're going to go through with fewer than 235 seconds left on the timer, and that's going to take us to Area 3C. 3C is one of the easier ones to go through. It contains a bunch of bubbles with mushrooms in them, and it does contain a dragon coin, and remember, if you get at least 4 dragon coins, you'll come out in a different area here. This is Area 4B. Now there's 2 P-switches here for reasons that I don't understand. You really only need one of them, but you will find the 5th dragon coin there, and if you haven't hit all of the switch palaces, you would definitely need the P-switches to cross over those coins. That exit may have seemed different, but it does not count as a different exit. So each level can only have a maximum of 2 exits that count, and whichever one of those goal line exits you pick counts the same as the other one. What we need to do instead is try to get through this as quickly as possible so that we can get to Area 3A, and that is where we are going to find the key and the keyhole so that we can go through the secret exit. This is Area 2C, which you'll find if you collect the maximum amount of coins in Area 1, and it's very easy to get through if you know how to use a cape. And here we've come through to Area 3A because we had more than 250 seconds left on the timer, and if we just cross above those charge and chucks, we'll find the key in the keyhole, and this is one of the exits that does count towards our 96, and it brings us up here where we'll find Chocolate Secret. Chocolate Secret is a fairly easy level, and it leads to a big shortcut across Chocolate Island. So if you just want to get through Chocolate Island, this is the way to go. Head underneath these charging chucks that punt footballs at you and try to kill them with a buzzy beetle shell, or use your cape attack. Then make your way to the right. If you don't have a cape, make sure to take that opportunity to grab one from the question mark block, and you could go up into this green pipe if you want to, but there's really nothing to find up here. If you get a good running start, you should be able to go right across those platforms and just avoid the Hammer Brother above, but you may just want to avoid that pipe altogether. You'll come out of the pipe here near the mid-level checkpoint, and you can see from the map that that was not much of a shortcut at all. Once you go through the pipe, you'll come out in this downhill area, and you can just hold down on the control pad to slide through all of the enemies, and you'll even be able to just bounce over that pit of munchers just by holding down. So make your way all the way to the bottom here, and head through the pipe in the lower right corner. You'll find some spike top enemies down here in this cavern, very similar to their cousins the Spinies, except these guys will go up and down walls. You can eat them as Yoshi, or you can hit them with your cape to kill them, and just make your way to the right. Whenever you jump onto these yellow platforms, they'll start falling into the lava, so you want to do a big jump before you land on them, and down here you'll want to use your cape to take out several charging chucks, and inside that question mark block is a fire flower, but hopefully you have a feather here. Watch out for some more charging chucks as you head to the right, and once again take a big jump that skips over the first yellow platform so that you have enough time to get across the lava. Once you get through the pipe on the other side, you'll reach the goal line, and there is only one exit here in the Chocolate Secret. Completing Chocolate Secret will allow you to get over to the left side of this area outside of the Valley of Bowser, and when we go down this pipe, it will take you directly to castle number 6. So if you want to skip Chocolate Island and go right to the castle, you can, but for now we're going to head back to Chocolate Island number 3 and pick up where we left off over there. Before we go into Chocolate Island 3, it would be very helpful to have a Yoshi, but there is no Yoshi to be found in Chocolate Island 3, so we can head back to the Donut Plains in the top secret area to find a Yoshi and whatever other power-ups we might need. And then we'll just work our way back to Chocolate Island 3. You can get a Yoshi from anywhere, but make sure you have one before you go into this level. Chocolate Island 3 contains a lot of these moving platforms, but you can avoid many of them just by jumping on the unmoving block in the middle. As you make your way to the right, you'll find a blue Koopa Troopa, and if you eat him with Yoshi, he'll get the ability to fly. Now, we know from many of the other levels that we've played, if Yoshi is about to swallow the shell, you can land somewhere, hold down on the control pad and spit the shell out, and then you'll be able to just pick it up again. And if you go up through this pipe, you'll find a bonus room filled with coins. Collect as many of the coins as you want, and you will find the third dragon coin over on the right side, and then drop down to the clouds below, where you'll find a pipe that will bring you back to the level. In this section, you'll see why we wanted Yoshi in this level. Those enemies with the googly eyes are called fuzzies, and Yoshi can eat the ones that you find here. There are some fuzzies in other levels that Yoshi cannot eat, but the ones in this level are totally delicious. At the bottom, you'll find the 5th and final dragon coin, and if you've collected enough coins, you'll be able to get a 1-up from that star box. You can use the vine or eat a blue shell to fly up here, and that is the first goal here in Chocolate Island 3. Before we go to the second goal, there's a very easy trick that you can do here. Jump from this yellow box up to the goal and dismount from Yoshi to get a boost. You don't want the screen to advance upward before you hit the goal line, and if you do it correctly, you'll see a weird glitch occur as the screen fades out, and now the map will be very strange colors. This map glitch is very easy to do, and it will last until you go into a level or until you go into somewhere that causes the screen to fade down to black. So like a pipe, or if you go into Star Road, or if you enter Vanilla Dome, for example, that will cause things to go back to normal. I've heard that this trick can corrupt your save file. I didn't have any problems with it, but if you're very risk averse, you might want to not save the game after you do that. Now let's talk about the secret exit here in Chocolate Island 3. You want to bring Yoshi to the end, and then have him eat that blue shell, and then just fly over here to the right. It's really that simple. Over here you'll find 3 yellow blocks that contain 1-ups, and you'll find a second set of goalposts. This goal will take you deeper into Chocolate Island, while that first goal will only take you around in a circle. If you're trying to get all 96 exits, you do need to hit both sets of goalposts in Chocolate Island 3, so don't forget about the exit that takes you around in a circle. And that brings us here to the Chocolate Fortress. The first part of the Chocolate Fortress contains a lot of these wooden spear traps, so try to jump between them and avoid the pointy ends as you move forward. If you have a cape, you can kill that dry bones enemy with a cape attack and he will not regenerate. And be careful that you don't get hit by one of these wooden spears and knocked out of the air down into the instant death water below. So maybe it's not water, I guess it could be some kind of brown lava. In any case, make your way to the right through this door, and there's a lot of thwomps in this area. The first one you can avoid by just running underneath it, but for most of the thwomps you're going to want to taunt them to drop and then go underneath as they head back up to their hole. There are also a bunch of thwimps in this area, which are the smaller thwomps. And whenever you see those, you want to wait until they jump up in the air and then just run underneath. So let these thwimps jump and then run under them. This thwomp you can get under by just jumping and quickly running, but you probably want to taunt this one to drop before you go underneath it. If we've hit the switch palaces, these last few thwomps won't be an issue, and you can grab a cape from this block before we head to the boss's room. It's Resner again, so it's the same Resner we fought twice now. Remember, when you take out the second Triceratops, that's when the bridge will start falling apart. So you want to take out that second one when it's up in the air. That'll make it easier to get rid of the last two. Just from looking at the map, you might think that completing the Chocolate Fortress would lead you to the castle, but instead it leads down on this path that goes to Chocolate Island 4. The good news is, all of the remaining levels in Chocolate Island only have a single exit, so it's just a straight shot across the map to the castle. Here in Chocolate Island 4, we'll find a lot of platforms that move along on a diagonal path, and we'll need to use them to get across more of that brown lava. If you've been to the Blue Switch Palace, you'll be able to get a bunch of 1-ups over here on the right side, so just head over to the right and drop down to the bottom where you'll find a bunch of blue exclamation blocks that lead to those 1-ups. If you haven't hit the blue switch yet, it is possible to still get them by using those diagonally moving platforms, but it may not be worth the effort. We can use a P switch here to be able to get the 4th dragon coin, and also to open up the path that leads into this bonus area. So hit the P switch at the beginning, and then drop down to the left, going through all of the layers of coins. You want to try to get all the way to the bottom. The way this room was designed, you're supposed to fall down through the coins, and whichever level you stop on, that's the items that you get, and then you go through the pipe on the right. But if you just stayed on the left and collected all the coins, you can use your cape to fly up between the different levels and collect all of the rewards. So we'll head up here where we'll find a feather, and then we can fly up to the next level where we'll find 5 1-ups. And then we can fly up here where we'll find a mushroom, and above that there's going to be a starman, which is not going to be super useful here. But above that we'll find another 1-up, and above that we'll find the 5th and final dragon coin. So if you were wondering where that is, that's where it can be found, pretty close to the top. And right up here near the very top there's another feather. So that's pretty much the last prize unless you count these coins. And if you head through this pipe on the right, any of the pipes on the right side there are going to lead you to this yellow pipe and this area with the large mega mole enemies, which can be eaten by Yoshi. We're almost out of time, but we're also at the goal line, so we'll just pass through it and make our way to Chocolate Island number 5. Chocolate Island 5 is the next to last level in this world, and it's actually not that difficult. If you have a cape, you can get a running start at the beginning here and fly up to the top where you'll find a silver P-switch, but you want to bring it down to the bottom where you can move the regular P-switch off of that line of blocks and then hit them both at the same time. You definitely don't want to hit the regular P-switch when it's on top of that line of blocks, or they'll turn into coins and you'll fall to your death. Once everything's been transformed, collect as much loot as you can, and then you may want to head back to the left, because in the question mark block you'll find a Yoshi egg, so that's going to be worth a 1-up. And there's also a fire flower at the bottom, and if you enter this pipe that was blocked off before, you'll enter a bonus room. We've seen this bonus room about a dozen times now, so if you want to use your cape to hit the left side of the block so that you always get a circle, you can. Otherwise, just make your way to the top, because this is actually a pretty good shortcut as well. You'll find the mid-level checkpoint when you emerge from the pipe, but if you want to collect all of the dragon coins, you are going to have to venture back to the left. If you don't care about dragon coins, you can just move on. But if you do, you want to head back this way and enter this pipe, because inside you're going to find 2 more dragon coins, as well as a bunch of fish that are trapped inside of bubbles. So just make your way across, grabbing the dragon coins, and the fish in the bubbles are not particularly dangerous. Unless they fall into the water, they won't be able to hurt you. When you come out, you'll be on top of these pipes that move, and then you'll see some accordion blocks, which as usual, we'll try to stay in the middle of. We'll find another dragon coin over here on the right for an additional 1-up. There are 6 dragon coins to find in this level. Before we move on to the castle, in this level there's a trick that you can do to make a fountain of extra lives. You want to bring a Yoshi with you from outside the level, and you need to have a cape so that you can fly up and grab the silver P-switch. Bring it down to the bottom, and then do a spin jump to take out these 2 blocks to the left of the question mark, but leave the rest of them intact. Then you want to head over to the right and try to get hit by an enemy, because you need to be small Mario to do this trick. Once you get hit, head back to where you left Yoshi, and we need to try to pick up both P-switches at the same time. Just like we did whenever we got the invisible Yoshi back in part 1. Once you have both switches in hand, go underneath the question mark block, push all the way to the right, and then launch both switches upward, which will start this fountain of eggs. Because we already had a Yoshi, each egg will hatch into a 1-up, and you can just stand underneath and collect as many of them as you can. Wendy's castle is all that remains of Chocolate Island, and although this one looks difficult at first, if you know what you're doing, it's not actually that tough. I definitely recommend that you come here with a feather, and have a second one in reserve. You can use a cape attack to take out that dry bones enemy, and wait for that spike to go down before you use the springboards to jump up. You'll want to duck underneath this buzzsaw and then use the R button to scroll the screen to the right. That will make things a little bit easier as you move forward here. You can stand in this divot to get underneath that buzzsaw, and you'll want to wait here for the spikes to come down before you move forward. Try to get between the 2 sets of buzzsaws and then wait for the spikes. And after they start going up, you can start moving to the right again, and once you get under that ledge, the spikes will stop for now. Run under 2 buzzsaws and then jump up over the last one, and that will bring you to this area with the fast moving spikes. You mostly have to concern yourself with the one at the bottom. The 2 at the top are fairly easy to avoid. Once you hit the mid-level checkpoint, you'll come to this area where you'll have to deal with some hothead enemies, but they're fairly slow moving. You do need to be cautious of the ceiling that's coming down in this area though, but there is a safe spot here on the far right. The smaller spark enemies are a little bit faster, so you do need to be wary of those, and you can just take a big jump across to this blue block and avoid some of the moving platforms. You want to drop down to the platform below to get through this area and then jump up and across. Use your cape attack to take out the dry bones and just head across in any way that you can. That will bring you to the red boss's door. Start out in the middle to try to avoid the fireballs. 3 Koopas will pop up, but 2 of them are imposters and only 1 is the real Wendy. Try to jump onto the real one. Just like when we fought Lemmy in Vanilla Dome, you only need to hit her 3 times, but because all the pipes are on the same level here, I'd say that makes Wendy a little bit easier. Now that Wendy is taking a lava bath, it's time to get rid of her castle, and instead of using a bomb this time, we're just going to sweep it away with a big broom. And it's gone. Wendy O'Koopa in Castle Number 6 has sung her last song. Mario must meet the challenge that is now before him. There is a sunken ship that appears to be a gateway to the Valley of Bowser. And that's where we're going next. The path leads directly to the sunken ghost ship, and this is the only haunted area in the game where Yoshi can join you. At the beginning, you emerge from a pipe under the water, and you just want to make your way to the right. There are a few bullet bill cannons here, but as long as you just stay up at the top, you should be able to easily avoid them, and then just swim over to this yellow pipe. This room is a little bit more challenging. There are a ton of ghosts in here, so it is very helpful to have Yoshi, because if you get hit and you lose Yoshi, you just want to quickly jump back on him, and it'll be as if nothing ever happened. If you're small Mario and you're riding Yoshi, you can actually just run along the bottom, and you should be able to avoid most of the ghosts down there. If you're not small Mario, just try to stay as close to the middle as you can. It seems like there are the fewest amount of ghosts there. And do your best to avoid getting hit, but it's pretty difficult to do. Usually I just rely on Yoshi to get me through here. If you take a few hits but you get back on your Yoshi, you should be fine. A couple circles of ghosts guard the pipe here at the end. Wait for the opening and then make your way down inside. And that leads you to this large open free fall. If you have a cape and you're interested in collecting all of the dragon coins, I certainly recommend that you slow your descent. Float down on the right side to collect the first 2 dragon coins, but then make your way back to the left to get the 3rd one. Watch out for enemies as you're floating downwards. If you're slowing your descent, your Starman will probably run out. And after you collect the 3rd dragon coin, try to stay in the middle because you'll find a platform that has a question mark block, and inside of it you'll find another star. The 4th dragon coin is slightly to the left of the platform with the star, and the 5th one is a bit to the right after the first field of coins. Try to collect as many coins as you can, and if you can hit a bunch of enemies while you're invincible, you may be able to gain some extra lives. You may also find a 1-up or 2 down in the water below, but once you reach the bottom, you just want to swim up to this formation and touch the green orb to finish the level. This is the only level in the game that you naturally finish with a green orb. And before we leave the sunken ghost ship, there is a very easy 1-up trick that you can do here. So you just want to make your way to this corner created by these 2 wooden boxes, and just keep swimming up against that corner. The cannon on the left will keep firing bullets that will hit right on Mario's feet, and you'll get more and more points each time until eventually you start gaining 1-ups. Make sure that you don't touch the ground or you'll have to start gaining the points over again. But this is a very easy way to stock up on lives for the difficult challenges ahead. So yeah, just keep swimming. With the sunken ghost ship completed, the Valley of Bowser rises dramatically out of the water. It's time to make our way inside. Valley of Bowser 1 is an underground level, and it's filled with these mega mole enemies, so it's highly recommended that you bring a Yoshi with you. Watch out for charging chucks that bust through these formations of blocks. If you scroll the screen a bit to the right, that one will open a path for you, which will allow you to get the first dragon coin. With the dragon coin in our possession, we'll head to this upper ledge and walk right over that first mole, but we should probably eat this second one that's coming down the stairs. If you stay on the upper level here, you can get the second dragon coin, but then you should drop down and continue to the right. If you follow the upper path here, you'll come to the mid-level checkpoint, so cross that goal line and then go to the path above it. If you're riding on a Yoshi, you don't have to worry about the munchers here, and you'll find a 3-up moon on the other side. Drop down and head to the right. Don't go all the way to the top, but take the path just below to find the third dragon coin, and then take the path below that, which leads to the fourth dragon coin. From here, you want to head down to the bottom, eat any enemies in your way, and just keep making your way to the right. And you'll need to jump over a small gap in the ground, and on the other side you'll find a yellow box that contains a vine, but if you continue to the right, you'll find the pipe that leads to the goal. We didn't find the 5th dragon coin yet, so we'll do that first, and you'll find it up here above the goal pipe, so just continue on to the right, and it's over on the far right side of the level. If you follow where that vine grew to, you'll find a bonus room. It's the same bonus room that we've seen many times before. The trick, of course, is to use your cape on the left side of each box, but if you're not too worried about the 1-ups, just make your way to the top. When you exit the bonus room, you come out directly below the mid-level checkpoint, so it's actually quite a bit of a setback, and you just need to make your way back across to the right, stay along the bottom, and that will bring you back to where the vine was, and you can just head along the bottom to the right this time, watch out for the charging chuck, and take this green pipe which leads to the goal. Valley of Bowser 1 only has a single goal, but the next few levels have 2, so keep your eyes peeled for secret exits. You'll certainly have to look hard to find the hidden exit in Valley of Bowser 2, because I'd say this level has one of the most well-hidden key exits in the entire game. You'll want to start out this level by scrolling the screen forward by using the R button. That will make those swooper bat enemies come down a little bit early, and it'll be easier to avoid them. So just make your way across. Most of the time you won't even have to use the moving floor areas. You can just jump from one high section to another. You'll find your first dragon coin before the mid-level checkpoint, and when you get to the other side of the pipe, if you're riding a Yoshi, you'll be able to find a wings item that will take you up to a bonus stage and will immediately clear the level for you. So that'll make this one a lot easier. Also, if you want to collect 5 dragon coins in this level, you'll need to do it up here in the bonus stage. I'm not going to collect the last dragon coin so you can see where all the other ones are, but you'll only find 4 scattered throughout the rest of the level. The bonus stage counts as the standard exit and leads to the Choco-Ghost House, but if you want to find the secret exit, we'll need to go a little bit deeper into Valley of Bowser 2. We have a blue Yoshi now because we were in the bonus stage, and that's going to make going through the beginning of this level a lot easier. Just eat any of the Koopa shells and fly straight across. This time when we go through the pipe, we're going to dismount from our Yoshi and continue on foot. Riding a Yoshi through this next area is pretty much impossible, so you'll have to do this part alone. The yellow walls here move up and down, and there's a space in the middle that you can stand in. Whenever you're at the very top or the very bottom of the screen, you're going to be safe, but whenever you're moving from left to right and you're trying to cross the middle, that's when things get dangerous and you could get crushed. So you need to be patient and plan out your moves, but whenever it comes time to make that move, make sure to run as fast as you can. So we're going to run to this divot. We'll wait until the walls are moving up and then run across to the right. We'll grab this dragon coin over here, and we need to cross at the top here, so we'll wait for the walls to go all the way to the bottom, and we'll start crossing to the right as they move upwards. So we'll head across here. You can see the lower path was a dead end. We did not want to end up down there. We'll wait in this divot. And then we're just going to run across to the right. Wait here. If you're having trouble seeing ahead, you can always scroll the screen forward by pressing the R button. And here we're going to run across the top, go to this divot, wait until the screen is moving down, and then run all the way down to the bottom, and then all the way across the bottom, and that's going to take us to the exit pipe. So just follow this to the end, and that's going to take us to the third part of Valley of Bowser, and this is where you'll find the hidden key. Where is it, you may ask? Well, ride this wall, then jump up over the ceiling to the left, and you'll find a hidden area with a key and a keyhole. Very sneaky. If you're good at duplicating blocks, you can do a fun trick here in the Valley of Bowser too. Bring a green shell with you through the pipe after the mid-level checkpoint, and we're going to punt it upwards into the left side of this question mark block, and if you hit it in the right spot, you can make a block appear with a key inside. So that's the spot where you want to punt the shell upwards. If you did it correctly, you'll make a hidden key appear, and you should not be able to have a key in this section of the level. Why is that cool, you may ask? Well, if you bring it over here to this area where the walls are moving up and down, you can toss the key and then crouch on top of it, and if you crouch on the right side of the key, it's possible to get pushed through the yellow wall, and you'll be able to walk inside of it. This is definitely a risky trick to try. If you don't do it correctly, you can get crushed by the wall and you'll die, so keep that in mind whenever you're attempting this trick. I don't think that this will actually make this level easier, but it could make it a little bit faster to get through. The key exit here leads us to the Valley Fortress, but we're not going to go there just yet, and instead we're going to go to the Valley Ghost House next. This is the game's final ghost house, and it's certainly a mysterious one. There are 2 exits to find here, and at the beginning, you want to make your way to the right while trying to avoid the large green bubbles. You can do a spin jump and land on the bubbles, but they're not that hard to avoid otherwise. And once you get through the door on the right side, it looks like there's nowhere to go here, but once you hit this P switch, suddenly a bunch of question mark blocks will appear, but they'll only be there temporarily, so make your way to the left or the right as quickly as you can. If you head to the left, you'll find a door that leads to this room that contains a control coin block, but you don't actually want to access this room from that side. So remember what this room looks like. We will be coming back here later, but for now you want to exit through the door, which will lead you back to the area with the P switch, and we're going to run to the right this time. Don't waste any time moving to the right because you need to run fast to clear all these coins and get the 1-up at the far end. To reach the goal, you want to go through the next to last door or the one before it. Either of them will lead you here, and this is the first goal in the Valley Ghost House, but there is a hidden one as well. The normal exit leads to Valley of Bowser 3, but before we go there, let's head back to the Valley Ghost House and find that secret exit. So we're just going to go through this first part the same way that we did before, avoiding the big green bubbles. If you slide down a slanted area and hit one of those bubbles, you can actually kill them, But when you get into this room, you want to quickly run to the right after hitting the P switch. So make your way to the right, and this time, we're going to collect all the coins and go through the door at the very end. That will take you to the left side of this room, and if you carry the P switch through those coins, you can bring it to this area where you'll find the control coin block. When you hit the P switch, you'll turn the control coin block into this snake of blocks, and you can use it to create platforms that will lead you up to the top where you'll find a key and a keyhole. You may be surprised to find out that there's another way to get up there. If you fly up, bump into the wall, and then catch your foot on the end of the ledge, you can carefully do a few crouched jumps to get underneath it, and you'll be able to grab the key and make your way to the keyhole that opens up a shortcut to Larry's castle. Valley of Bowser 3 features a fun new type of platform called a countdown lift. Countdown lifts have a number on the side, and they'll start moving as soon as you land on them. The ones with a higher number on the side will last longer because the lifts will count down, and when their number reaches 0, they'll drop out from under you. If you navigate the countdown lifts to this pair of yellow pipes, you can go down the bottom one to reach another bonus room. And we'll try to get all the 1-ups this time. Remember, you want to hit the left side of each box with your cape. You don't have to go from left to right. As long as you hit the left side of the box, it will always be a circle. But if you start at the left side, you won't accidentally hit any of the boxes from the right. So that's the best way to do that bonus stage. And whenever you emerge from it, you'll be right near the mid-level checkpoint. If you toss a shell on this slope, you'll be able to take out most of the enemies, but be careful that you don't take yourself out as well. Down here, you'll find some more of those countdown lifts. When you get to this lift that's moving diagonally, I recommend holding the R button to advance the screen to the right. That'll cause those large bonsai bill enemies to fire earlier, and they'll be easier to get around. Take this countdown lift to the top and you'll be able to get a 1-up, and you can even jump from there to the goal line and hopefully cross it at its highest point. With all the countdown platforms, Valley of Bowser 3 has some of the most difficult platforming in the game outside of the special world. So if you're struggling with this level, just go up to Star Road, bring back a blue Yoshi, and eat the first Koopa that you see, which will allow you to fly all the way to the mid-level checkpoint. When you get here, hit the checkpoint and then eat the next Koopa that you see, and that one should let you fly all the way to the goal line. Just stay up above the screen and none of the enemies will be able to get you. You won't be able to collect any of the coins or the loot that you see below, but who cares about any of that? Just make your way to the goal, and you'll be able to finish this level no problem. There are certainly some challenging levels in this game, but if you're allowed to bring a blue Yoshi, you can beat anything. And that brings us to Valley of Bowser number 4. This is another underground level, and in here you'll meet some charging chucks that will launch rocks at you, so be careful of them as you make your way to the right. Whenever you land on these platforms, they'll immediately sink into the lava, so don't linger on them for very long, and if you go down into this green pipe, you'll come out in an icy area that contains a single question mark block where you can find a cape. I recommend that you stay down in the water and just kill the cheeps with your cape, or just avoid that area altogether. You'll come back out on the left side of the lava pit and you'll need to cross over again. If you have a Yoshi, you may want to dump him in the lava because you need to climb up this vine, and at the top, you'll be able to get a new Yoshi. If you dismount from Yoshi and land on his back while you're still spinning, you'll be able to crush down through these blocks, and if you stay on the right side, you can grab onto this ledge where you'll be able to release a 1-up. To collect this 1-up, I recommend going over here to the right, and then go back to the left, where you'll find that one of the platforms in the lava had respawned. That's the easiest way to collect that 1-up, instead of trying to catch it in midair as it falls. If you want to do the secret exit in this level, you're going to need Yoshi, so make sure that you don't lose him here in the final stretch. Just keep working your way to the right, and if you can make it to the end with Yoshi, I recommend doing the key exit first. If you don't have Yoshi with you, just do the normal exit, and then come back here again, but make sure that you have Yoshi the second time. You'll need to grab the key through the wall using Yoshi's tongue, and that will take you up here to Star Road. This is the final connection to Star Road in the game, and you can also go to the final level from here. Before we do that, we'll head back into Valley of Bowser 4, and this time when we go to the end, instead of picking up the key, we're just going to cross the goal line normally. Remember, you need to do both exits to get all 96. And we can just wait here until the goal line reaches the top, and we got 40 bonus stars this time. Not too shabby. Valley of Bowser 4 was the last level in the game that had multiple exits that count towards the 96. So from here, every remaining level only has one exit. The Valley Fortress is the last of the game's 4 fortresses, and this one is nasty. There are a lot of very fast moving spikes in here, so keep that run button held down. There's some spikes here at the beginning, and you may be thinking, those spikes weren't terribly fast, and they're not. Those ones are just there to get you ready for the ones that you'll encounter later. In this section, you want to use the R button to scroll the screen forward so that the spikes will drop out of the ceiling sooner. And we'll have to quickly jump under these large spikes whenever they're going back up into the ceiling, so don't linger under them for very long. You'll need to quickly jump across 3 platforms here, so wait until the spikes start moving up and then quickly hop to the other side. Use your cape attack to take out the undead enemies in this area, and here are the faster spikes. Watch for their pattern, quickly run underneath them and go to the middle of each platform, waiting for them to retract upwards, and don't run into the one at the very end before the red door. Beyond the red door is the game's final Reznor. Just like all the other ones, whenever you take out the second Triceratops, the bridge below will start to break apart, so make sure to hit that second one when it's way up in the air. That'll make it easier to take out the third and the fourth one. Completing the Valley Fortress will take you to the back door of Bowser's Castle, and by going in through the back door, you'll be able to skip most of the final level. We're not going to head in there right now. Instead, we're going to make our way to Larry's Castle. Larry's is the final Koopaling castle in the game, and much like Roy's castle back in the Forest of Illusion, this one involves us riding on a snake block platform as we avoid some obstacles. The snake blocks start out by following the spikes along the bottom of the level, and you'll want to do your best to avoid the rotating mace balls that get in your way. It continues along across the lava, and whenever you see these 2 brown blocks in the air, that's when it's going to start moving upwards and then back to the left. When you get to this area, you want to stay on the upper ledge, follow it along to the left, and you'll be able to pick up the snake blocks again on the left side. Here's where you'll find the second dragon coin, and if you need it, you can get a mushroom from that yellow exclamation block, but hopefully it won't come to that. As the snake blocks double back to the right, they'll eventually start moving downwards again, at which point you can wait here near this mace ball, or you can just ride them down to the bottom until they start moving upwards again, and then you do need to follow them up or you'll get left behind. You'll find the 3rd dragon coin here, and if you want the 4th and 5th one, don't go in the first door. Instead, ride the snake blocks down here to the bottom, where you'll find a mid-level checkpoint, 2 dragon coins, and a mushroom. The second half of this castle is absolutely infested with magic Koopas. If you have a cape, you can spin attack through these walls of yellow rotating blocks, but if you don't have a cape, you're going to need to get some assistance from the magic Koopas to get through. When you come to the end of this area, you're going to cross over a bunch of yellow blocks. Make sure to kill the magic Koopa before you start crossing them, or they may open up some gaps in the road, and you certainly don't want that. Use your cape to take out that dry bones, and when you get down here, you're almost to the end. Carefully make your way to the red door, and if you need it, you can find a feather in the green exclamation block before the boss. The easiest way to defeat Larry is to just wait until the platform starts to dip down to the right, and then just quickly stomp on his head twice, and he should go flying off the right side. Now, if you're good at flying with a cape, you can get a running start at the beginning of this level, and you can fairly easily just fly through the whole thing. Yeah, that makes the first part of Larry's castle a breeze. Larry's castle is not as heavy as it looks, so let's just pick that up and get it on out of here. Mario has defeated Larry Koopa in castle number 7. All that is left is Bowser's castle where Princess Toadstool was being held. Can Mario rescue her and restore peace to Dinosaur Land? Well, it's not exactly the only thing left. It's the only thing left here in this world, but what about the special world in the middle of Star Road? Before we go to the final castle, let's head up to Star Road and take on some of the most difficult levels in the game. The first level up here in the special world is called Gnarly, and this one is a very vertical type level. You'll be climbing a lot of vines here, and of course Yoshi can't climb vines, so if you're riding a Yoshi, you may want to try to grab this blue shell through the wall at the very beginning. As we know, the blue shell allows Yoshi to fly, and as long as you don't let him swallow it, it should be very easy to get through the first part of this level. Your goal in this level is to get up and over the wall in the middle so that you can get to the pipe in the lower right corner. Before you do that, you may want to fly up to the upper left corner where you'll find a 1-up, and once you get over the wall in the middle, well, there's a couple things to find over here on the right side, including a 1-up that you'll find just by drifting down to the left of those note blocks. When you get to the bottom on the right side, you'll find the pipe that leads deeper into the level, but there's another way that you can go that will take you through a hidden area first. So we're going to fly back up over the wall and head over to the left where we'll find a yellow block that contains a P switch. So release that P switch, and then you want to carry it back to the top of the level, so use these note blocks to get back to the top. So just keep bouncing up, carrying the P switch with you, and once you get all the way to the top, you're going to spit out that P switch, hit it, and then jump all the way to the right. As you drop down, you'll land on a question mark block in front of a pipe, and that will allow you to go through the pipe, and if you make a run to the right, you'll get 3 extra lives. Once you jump up to the higher level, you'll want to grab the silver P switch, then hit one of the regular ones. You can get a good running start and then just fly over the gap below, or use the question mark blocks that appear whenever you hit the P. At the very end near the goal line, you can hit the silver P and collect the coins that Lakitu drops on you for an extra bonus, or you can just skip doing that altogether and just cross the goal line. If you collect enough of the silver coins, you may be able to get some 1-ups, but if you don't worry about it too much, and just make your way to the next level in the special world. Gnarly is not one of the most difficult levels in the game, but the next level, Tubular, absolutely is. A cape is highly recommended for this level, and at the beginning you'll cross over some pipes and a few charging chucks, but that's not the main attraction here. You'll need to abandon your Yoshi, hit the P switch, and then hit the question mark block below it. That will release a balloon. You want to try to grab the balloon when it's floated off a bit to the right, because you only have a few seconds until you run out of air. If you get hit by anything while you're in balloon form, you'll drop like a stone, so you need to be extra careful. The last balloon item in the course is located underneath this first charge and chuck, and if you run out of air, don't despair. You can still collect the balloon by hitting the right side of the box with a cape attack, so the balloon will pop out and Mario will immediately pick it up, allowing him to float on, just like Modest Mouse told us to. Make sure to hit those Lava Lotus enemies from below before collecting anything above them, and if you can cross the goal line while you're still inflated, you'll earn yourself a 1-up. Tubular is one of the most difficult levels in the game, so if you're having trouble, I recommend bringing a blue Yoshi here, hitting the P switch, and then just skip over the balloons. You want to jump onto this formation of blocks, which is a transformed bit of coins, and you should be able to grab one of the red Koopa shells from there. Once blue Yoshi has a Koopa shell in his mouth, the rest of this level should be easy. Just fly to the goal line. It's really that simple. Something else you might want to try is bringing the green orb item here. If you use the green orb after you've collected the balloon, you'll be able to float up to the top of the screen, and then you'll be able to do the map glitch here in the special world. So this is the only way I know to do the map glitch here in the special world, and as soon as it fades out, you'll be able to see what it looks like. So here it is, glitched out special. You also get to save every other level when you're up here in the special world. And that brings us to the third one, which is called Way Cool. Way Cool features a lot of platforming and some fuzzy enemies that you cannot eat with your Yoshi, but if you know what you're doing, this one's way easier than Tubular. You want to skip the first two on switches, and then hit the second two. So skip the first two, hit the second two, and that will bring you up here to this pipe, and inside the pipe, you'll be able to get yourself a Yoshi if you don't have one already, or you'll find a 1-up. The best part about it is when you emerge from this pipe, you'll be right next to a question mark block that contains a Yoshi Wings bonus stage, and once you're up in the bonus stage, you've essentially completed the level. So feel free to collect as much loot as you can up here, or just drop off the bottom and move on to the next level, whatever you want to do. Now we are going to come back into this level so you can see the rest of it, because if you don't use the bonus stage, this one's a little bit more difficult. Just to be completely clear, you do not need to finish Way Cool more than one time to get all 96 exits. So whether you use the regular goalposts, or you go to the Yoshi Wing bonus stage, it all counts the same. We're going to take a different path this time. Down here at the bottom, you'll be able to find a feather, and you'll also be able to grab a couple dragon coins. You will need to go up to the bonus stage to get any extra lives for collecting dragon coins in this level, so you may just want to skip them if you're not planning on going up there. Once you get to the end of this platform, do a big jump, and you should land right near where the pipe led out from before. If you're not going to go up to the bonus stage, you should probably dismount from your Yoshi, because he won't be able to climb on these rope lifts. It is possible to jump from enemy to enemy as Yoshi, but that's pretty difficult. If you want to go this way, you should probably just do it alone. On this rope lift, you want to start out at the top, then move to the bottom. When you see two enemies, you want to go in between them. It's easier than it looks. Then go down to the bottom and just wait until you reach the end of the line, and that will take you to the goal post. Using those rope lifts is a lot more difficult than just going up to the bonus stage, so I certainly recommend using the other path. The next level is called Awesome, but it should actually be called Awful because this level is tough. The whole thing is covered in ice, and there are a ton of enemies in here. I recommend just running as fast as you can through the beginning of this level to try to avoid the shells that are going to be kicked at you. Get over here and grab this P switch, and you want to carry it until you see a yellow pipe. That's where you're going to drop it and use it. You can still stomp enemies though, and even kick shells. So don't be afraid to do that, and there's the yellow pipe we were looking for. Now you should be able to easily reach this Starman, and you'll also have a few extra platforms to work with as you run to the end. Try to make the most of your invincibility, and this last part will be easier, but it's still kind of difficult. There are a ton of enemies in the final section of Awesome, but if you move fast enough, you should be able to maintain your invincibility all the way to the goal. Now that you've finished Awesome, you get to save the game, and you can pat yourself on the back because Awesome and Tubular were two of the most difficult levels in the game, and the ones that are left are a good bit easier. Groovy is a level that will look familiar to you if you've ever spent some time watching the title screen that appears when you start up the game. You'll find a Yoshi in the first question mark block at the beginning of the level, and he's going to make this one a whole lot easier. There are Koopas of every color to snack on, plus Yoshi can eat these large pokey enemies to get them out of your way. Over here you'll find a roulette block which you'd like to hit a little bit early. You still want to get the Starman, but you'd like it to bounce a little bit to the right first. That way you'll be able to maximize your invincibility time, and you should be able to hit a lot of enemies, which will earn you a good number of 1-ups, especially if you can make it to this large line of pokies towards the end. Either stomp this charge and chuck multiple times, or dismount from Yoshi so that you can hit him with a cape attack, and then get back on your dinosaur friend so that you can continue to eat everything in your path. Over here you'll see two charge and chucks that throw baseballs at you. They will stop throwing baseballs after a moment, so you'll have a second to jump up there and hit them with a cape attack, and then you'll be able to easily get to the goal line. With Groovy completed, there are only 3 levels left in the special world, and the next one is called Mondo. Mondo is a unique level that features rising and falling tides. At the beginning there's a medium amount of water, but once you get a little bit into the level, you'll notice the water start filling up, but just as soon as it gets to the top, it'll start falling back down to the bottom again. So the real strategy here in Mondo is to just wait out the water. So hang out until the water recedes down to the bottom of the screen, and then the fish enemies won't be a problem, the water won't get in the way of your jumps, and it'll be a lot easier to kill these hammer brothers from below. Yoshi will allow you to walk over the munchers in this area, and if you don't have a Yoshi, you'll be able to find one in the 3rd question mark block in this set. We already have Yoshi, so we got a 1-up instead, and when you head over here, you can use the water to make this 1-up easier to collect, and then if you head down this pipe, you can enter a bonus area filled with clouds. There is a dragon coin at the bottom of this slope of clouds, so if you're interested in collecting all of those, this is an important little bonus area. And when you come out on the other side, you haven't really gone very far ahead, so just continue to make your way to the right. Over here you'll find a wide array of question mark blocks. Most of them contain coins, but one of them does contain a fire flower up on the top row. If you're swimming, that'll make it easier to collect all of the coins, and it's a little bit slower if you have to jump and individually hit each one. If you're not interested in collecting a bunch of coins, you don't have to worry about these, and if you want the fire flower, well, you can see where it is. We can use the water to our advantage here at the end. Just swim up and try to hit this hammer brother when he's in the leftmost part of his arc. And then you'll be able to collect the last dragon coin and make your way through the pipe that leads to the goal. Mondo is not that difficult of a level if you know how to manage the rising tides, and now that you've completed it, you'll have the opportunity to save the game, and then it'll be on to the next to last special world stage, Outrageous. Outrageous features a lot of enemies and cannons. A Yoshi is highly recommended here, although you can find one later in the level. If you're good with the cape, you may want to get a running start at the beginning and just fly over a lot of these early hazards, but you will miss out on some of the loot below, like one of the dragon coins. Use the spring to get over these cannons, that'll make things a bit easier, and you can eat the fire enemies with Yoshi, so keep that in mind. If you get hit, do your best to get back onto Yoshi, he's going to be your lifeline in this level. After eating that fire through the cannon, make your way to the right and quickly jump over these cannons with the spring. Do a big jump onto those brown platforms, and then you may need to dismount from Yoshi to get over this pipe. You'll want to eat the wiggler through it first though. If you want to keep Yoshi, you'll probably need to either bounce off of a bullet bill or bring one of the springs with you from earlier in the level, but I think it's just easier to dismount from Yoshi and then use your cape attack to take out most of the remaining enemies. Sadly, we're only going to get a 1-up from this question mark block instead of another Yoshi because the game still knows that our Yoshi is in the level. So collect your 1-up and continue to the right, and once you get over this ridge, you're almost at the end. Hit this hammer brother from below and use his platform to get over the blue pipe. Down here you'll find a few power-ups inside the question mark blocks, so grab the coins and the fire flower if you need it, and I recommend using the R button to advance the screen before the goal. That'll make things a little bit easier. Over here you want to hit another hammer brother from below and you'll be able to use his platform to reach the top of the goal line, or you can just do a big jump from below and you should be able to make it to the ledge with the goal. You just wouldn't be able to hit it at a higher position. Now if you've been wondering about how to get the silver Yoshi, this is the level where you can do it. Ride a Yoshi to the end of the level where you'll see an arrow sign next to a bullet bill cannon. It's okay if you found the Yoshi in Outrageous or if you brought it from outside. You want to walk so close to the edge here that whenever you dismount from Yoshi, he'll fall into the pit. So you need to get really close to the edge, and you need to time your dismount so that Yoshi falls off the screen at the same time the bullet cannon fires. If you do it correctly, it will look like the bullet bill has teleported to Mario. The timing for this is very precise, so if you need to practice, I recommend playing on something like the Nintendo Switch that has rewind or save state features. Once you've teleported the bullet bill, all you need to do is finish the stage normally, and whenever you get back to the map screen, it will look like Mario is riding on some kind of glitch. So you know you got it now, and whenever you go into another level, Mario will be riding a silver Yoshi. The silver Yoshi seems to have the same properties as a yellow Yoshi, so I think that this is just a color palette glitch that's causing the Yoshi to have the wrong coloration, although I wonder what would happen if we started with a different colored Yoshi instead of a green one. Unfortunately, it's not some kind of Uber Yoshi that has the abilities of the red, blue, and yellow Yoshi, although that would have been super cool, and I kinda wish the developers would have included it. I don't think it would have been better than the blue Yoshi, but just for coolness factor alone, it would have been totally worth it. The best thing about the silver Yoshi is that it doesn't go away whenever you finish a level, so you can keep riding it as long as it stays alive. You'll definitely want to have a Yoshi here in the final level of the special world, which is called Funky. Funky isn't that difficult, but it's one of the longest levels in the game, and they don't give you a ton of time to finish it. What they do give you are green fruits that you can eat with Yoshi, and each time you eat a green fruit, you'll get 20 seconds back to the clock. So keep your eyes open for those green fruits, and don't miss this Starman, which will make it much easier to run through a lot of the level. We don't have a whole lot of time to waste, so while you're invincible, keep that run button held down and keep moving to the right. There's another one of those green fruits, make sure to eat that. And our invincibility is worn off, so we'll slow it down a little bit here, but we still need to keep moving to the end. You can see we have the stomping power of the yellow Yoshi, so we're using that to our advantage a little bit. And we'll collect another green fruit and continue to the right, where we'll find the 4th dragon coin, and you do need to wait patiently for this charging chuck to stop throwing baseballs. I know that we don't have a ton of time on the clock, but you're not going to get any time back from getting hit. If you need a feather, you can find one here, and then if you bring a shell with you, you can use it to hit this box with wings. You can also hit the box with wings with those purple blocks below you, but if you're not careful and you pick one up on the lower tier, you may fall below to your death. This gauntlet of charging chucks that throw baseballs is the last challenge before the goal line. If you're still riding Yoshi, just let them hit you with a few baseballs. You'll get a few seconds of invincibility, and you can use that to take them out with a cape attack. Once you get past those charging chucks, you'll see a formation of coins that spells out, "You are a super player." So I guess thanks for the compliment, coins. And whenever you finish Funky, the game will transform. As soon as you finish the level, the transformation happens, and you'll notice it right away. Now, before we go on, I want to show you a trick to speed up the music. And you can see the game has already converted, and the Koopas are now the mask Koopas that have Mario's face. Very strange. If you don't like this change, that's unfortunate, because once you've completed Funky and saved the game, there's really no way to go back. But that's not why we're still here. If you have Yoshi eat one of the green fruits after the timer has ticked down to 99 seconds, well, the time will go back up over 100, but the music will stay fast. And you'll see how that looks now. So the music's moving faster because the time is running out and we ate one of those green fruits. So what will happen when the time hits 99 again? Well, the music will go even faster. And you'll notice it now. And you can just keep doing this over and over again. Each time the time ticks down to 99, the music will get faster. And if you eat a green fruit and get back up over 100, you'll be able to make it speed up even more until it sounds truly atrocious. So we'll do it maybe one more time here. Whenever we hit 99, you'll be able to hear even faster music. And there's only so many of these items in this level, but you can really get the music going fast if you collect enough of them. After completing Funky, you'll have the opportunity to save your game, and you'll open up a Star Road terminal that will take you back to World 1. Before we leave the special area, if you wait here on the map screen long enough, you'll be able to hear some special music. So you may have to wait a couple minutes to hear this, but you'll be able to hear a remixed version of the original Super Mario Bros. Theme song if you just wait here in the special world long enough. The original Super Mario Bros. Theme sounds great reimagined using the Super Nintendo's hardware, so you may want to take a moment to enjoy it before leaving the special world behind. And once you're done, feel free to use Star Road, and we'll head back to World 1, but you'll notice that everything looks a little bit different now. The map looks very different in this color palette, but when you go inside the levels, the changes are a bit more subtle. The biggest change are the Koopas that now look like Mario, although there are a couple other differences. The piranha plants are now pumpkin piranha plants, and the bullet bills turn into Pidgeot bills. I also noticed that some of the enemy placements were different, but that's the kind of thing that is very difficult to notice unless you are extremely familiar with these levels. The Forest of Illusion now has an autumn theme, and when we come down here to Chocolate Island, it's green, which makes me want to call it Mint Chocolate Island. As we head up past the Sunken ghost ship, we can go inside the Valley of Bowser, which is now also very brown looking. And when we go up to Star World, yep, that's brown too. It's like chocolate Star World. The special world doesn't look different at all, so this looks the same as it did before, but if you want to see those changed bullet bill enemies, a good place to do that would be Outrageous. So we'll pop into there very quickly, and if we head to the right, we should be able to find a cannon, and you'll be able to see the Pidgeot bills. These are modeled after the Pidgeot enemies from Super Mario Bros. 2. And that's going to conclude our short tour of the changed map. So that is your reward for completing the special world. Everything is a little bit different now, and the only thing left to do is complete Bowser's Castle and rescue the princess. So we're going to head down here to this Star Road. You could go to the back door. That is much easier than going to the front door. But if you want to know how to beat the levels in the front door, I'm going to show you that, so we'll take the harder path. If you're trying to get all 96 exits, it does not matter if you take the front door or the back door, you only need to beat Bowser once. We'll have to leave our silver Yoshi outside, so I recommend that you come in here equipped with a feather with another feather in reserve. Once you get inside, you'll have a choice between 4 different doors. I highly recommend choosing door number 2. Door number 2 is super easy. All you need to do is climb across this fence, and if you stay down at the bottom, you'll be able to easily avoid the enemies. Then you'll need to choose between doors 5 through 8. If you've hit the red and blue switch palaces, I think that door number 7 may be the easiest one. A lot of the enemies will be up in the air out of your way because of those exclamation blocks, and you should be able to get through pretty easily. And that will bring you to the last section. Before we go on to the last section, let's talk about the other doors. Door number 1 is an auto-scroller. If you've hit all 4 switch palaces, door number 1 is not that difficult, but it's also very slow, and there's a lot of Pootaboos bouncing out of the lava in here, so I can't recommend this one. Door number 3 is probably the longest of the 4 doors, and it's a bit of a maze. You can jump up through some of the walls like these ones over here on the left with the large diamond patterns, and you'll find a 1-up in the upper left corner. There's also a bunch of Mecha Koopas up here. You can stomp on them and then carry them to use them as weapons. Do not try to attack Mecha Koopas with your cape. It won't work. And if you need a cape, there's one hidden in the upper right. So door number 3 is not a bad choice if you need a feather. And if you'd like to try door number 4, this one looks difficult, but if you have a cape, you can get a running start at the beginning and just do a big jump over this wall. You'll then be able to easily collect this 1-up and get another running start to do a big jump to the door. So if you know how to use a cape, door number 4 is not that bad. I had recommended door number 7, but door number 5 is also a good choice. You want to wait right in front of these spikes until you can start running forward. Make sure to start running as soon as possible, because if you mistime it, you'll get hit by the last spike, but you'll still be able to get through there pretty fast. I cannot recommend door number 6. Door number 6 is the most difficult one of the 8 doors. Door number 6 features a short swimming course, and there is a feather to find in here, so those are all good things. But at the very end, there are a ton of obstacles to avoid, and it is very difficult to get through here without taking a hit. So it is way easier to go through door number 7 or door number 5, and I would just avoid door number 6. If you have to go, you need to wait patiently here, swim up past this mace ball, duck here, and then quickly move on to the left. That's the only way I was able to find to get through that part unscathed. And that just leaves door number 8, which is filled with charging chucks. If you have a cape, you can attack them with your cape attacks, and that's the best way to get rid of these guys. If you don't have a cape, you can find one in this green exclamation block, assuming that you've hit the green switch palace. So just use your spin attacks to get through if you want to do door number 8, but I still recommend using door number 2 and then either 7 or 5. When you get here, this is the last section of the castle. You don't have any options on this part, and this is where you would start if you took the back door. Make sure to turn on the light by hitting the question mark block at the beginning. That'll make it a bit easier to see here. And make sure that you stomp on the Mecha Koopa enemies and don't try to attack them with your cape. When you get to the red boss door, it'll be finally time to face Bowser. This is it, the final boss. Bowser has 3 forms, and he's a lot more difficult in this game than he was back in Super Mario Bros. 3. The first form is very easy to beat. Just wait over here on the left. Bowser will fly around in an arc-like pattern, and eventually he'll drop 2 Mecha Koopas. Stomp a Mecha Koopa, pick it up, and wait over here on the left side. As Bowser flies across the middle of the screen from the right, that's when you want to launch the Mecha Koopa upwards, and you'll hit him right in the face. Once you hit him twice, he'll fly away, and then some fireballs will fall from the sky. Watch where the fireballs start falling from and head in that general direction. The fireballs should fade away in time for you to walk over them. The princess will show up and offer you a mushroom, but if you have a better item in reserve, you'll want to avoid it. For his second form, Bowser will drop bowling balls out of the clown car. Be ready for this, and you're going to use your spin jumps to get over them. If your spin jump lands on top of the bowling ball, you won't take damage. Just be careful that you don't go spinning into Bowser. Eventually, he'll drop 2 Mecha Koopas again. We're going to throw those up in the air to hit him, but this time you want to wait over on the left or the right side, and when Bowser gets nearby, you want to jump up into the air and then launch the Mecha Koopa upwards. So jump first and launch the Mecha Koopa while you're in mid-air. That will give it enough height to hit the boss. After 2 hits, Bowser will fly away again and the fireballs will drop. Do the same thing you did before and head in the direction of the fireballs, and don't forget that you can use your spin jumps. If you land on a fireball with a spin jump, you'll be safe. For his final form, Bowser will try to bounce on top of you, but if you just keep moving left and right, you'll run under him each time, and eventually he'll drop the Mecha Koopas again. Quickly pick them up and don't forget to jump before launching them straight up into the air. Once you hit him 2 more times, that will be the end of Bowser. He'll drop the princess and go spinning off into the distance. And that's it. We've done it. We've beaten Super Mario World. All we can do now is sit back, relax, and enjoy the cheesy ending. Mario's adventure is over. Mario, the princess, Yoshi, and his friends are going to take a vacation. It's time for some fireworks. It was nice of Bowser to have this whole fireworks display set up for us. Although maybe he was planning to set off the fireworks after killing Mario. In any case, the last firework is a big heart. Then the screen wipes away, and it's time to roll the credits. As the credits roll, we see Mario, Yoshi, the princess, and a team of eggs taking a walk through the 7 main worlds. How do the eggs walk like that? I suppose if the eggs can say thank you, then maybe they could walk, but they look kinda like giant Mexican jumping beans as they follow Mario through Chocolate Island. I'm pretty sure this is the very first Super Mario Bros. Game that has credits at the end, so we can finally see who all the people were that put this game together. It's crazy to think that this was one of the very first games made for the Super Nintendo, and it did get a sequel, Yoshi's Island Super Mario World 2, but that game is so different, it feels more like a spin-off. We got Super Mario Land 2 6 golden coins on the Game Boy in 1992, but after that, there were no more traditional 2D Mario games until New Super Mario Bros. Came out on the Nintendo DS in 2006. The series moved into 3D with Super Mario 64, and it was a very long time before Nintendo realized that we still wanted more two-dimensional Super Mario games, and that they could coexist with the 3D ones. It's really too bad that it took them so long to get back to 2D Super Mario Bros., because they probably could have released 4 or 5 new games in that time period. When we get back to Yoshi's house, the ritual is complete, and it's time for the hatching to begin. It's nice to see the next generation of Yoshis are looking healthy, but now that we've chased off Bowser and the enemies, how are we going to feed these guys? But that's not the end. We now get to see the cast of characters. The enemies that you see here at the end will be different if you finish the special world, so you'll see the masked Koopa instead of the regular Koopa Troopas, the jumping pumpkin plant instead of the piranha plant, and the Pidgeot Bill instead of the Bullet Bills. If you were ever wondering what some of these enemies were called, well, now you know. I definitely remember the first time I played this game. A friend of mine got a Super Nintendo pretty early, and from the first time I played this, I fell in love with it, and I just had to have a Super Nintendo. I had to save up money from Christmas and my birthday, and I barely had enough to get the Super Nintendo with one game, so for a good year, this was the only Super Nintendo game that I had, but it was more than enough to keep me interested. A friend of mine let me borrow Final Fantasy II, and I was occasionally able to rent some games from the local video store, but I always would come back to Super Mario World, and there was always something new to find. That being said, I think I still slightly prefer Super Mario Bros. 3 over this game, although it's very close. I like the variety of the power-ups in Super Mario Bros. 3, and really enjoy using things like the Hammer Brothers suit and the Tanuki suit that turns you into a statue. Still, the level design in Super Mario World is much better. I like the bite-sized levels in Super Mario Bros. 3, but the longer levels in Super Mario World with all of the hidden exits are much more intriguing. Whether Super Mario Bros. 3 or Super Mario World is your favorite, either way, I don't think that you're wrong. As the last few enemies slide across the screen, we'll get to see all of the different Koopalings and Bowser, and then we'll see a final image of Mario, Luigi, and the princess. But before we go, there's one more thing that we need to do. If we found all 96 exits, we should see a star 96 on the title screen. And there it is. Well, I hope this video was able to help you finally beat Super Mario World and find all 96 hidden exits. If it did, make sure to give it a like and make sure to subscribe for more videos, because it won't be long before Bowser has kidnapped the princess once more, and that's why we'll be back again next week with another video game you can beat. Thanks for watching.